Okay, if x is greater than 0 and m is positive, circle which of the following expressions are equivalent. So we need to simplify all these expressions in order to figure that out. So I'm going to go across and do each one. The first one, we have power over root. So 5x to the power over root. So this one is certainly equivalent to the original. The second one has the exact same expression, pretty much. I see that the root is in parentheses here, but the order actually is not going to affect it. But it's on the bottom. So if it's on the bottom, that's making the exponent negative. So we don't want that one. The next one has 125 x cubed to the, let's say, 1 over m power. Right? So this is no good. Next one again in the denominator, so it's going to make it a negative exponent. No good. Denominator going to make it a negative exponent. No good. The following one is just raising the x to the third power, not the 5. So the x is being raised to the power over root of 3 over m, but the 5 is only being raised to the 1 over m power. No good. Next one has it on the denominator. It would be a negative exponent. No good. And the last one, the whole thing is under the radical, so the whole thing has a root of m and a power of 3. So this one is the same. It has the 5x being raised to the power over root 3 over m. So if m was a negative integer, then we'd be looking at the choices that have the denominator. So if it were negative, then we'd be looking at the ones that were in the denominator. The 3 choices that I crossed out for just being in the denominator. This one was also only had the x being raised to the 3, so that would still not be good. Okay. Number 6, we have a power inside parentheses being raised to an outside power. So now I could do this a little differently as the negative exponent with a 1/2. So a 1/2 exponent is the same thing as just taking the square root of something. And the negative brings it to the denominator. So in the earlier examples, I was saying that I would first simplify using the laws of exponents. But for this one, I might just drop it down to the bottom because of the negative exponent. And then the 1/2 switching to a square root. And the whole thing was being raised to that 1/2 power. So the 1 is on top. The square root of 9 is 3. When you're taking the square root of the exponents, you're taking half of them. So it's going to be x to the first power, y to the third power. So which choice is equivalent to that? I believe that it's choice 1. Number 7, we have all different stuff going on here. First, going to simplify this denominator that has a power inside the parentheses raised to an outside power. So the denominator is going to be x to the, we have 1 over 4 inside, 3 on the outside. Multiply the inside and outside power, you're going to get 3/4. On the top, I could make that x to the power over root is going to be 9 over 4. So now I'm dividing powers with the same base. The base is going to stay the same when I'm dividing powers What do we do with the exponents? We subtract them. Nice, already have common denominator, or you could put it into the calculator. I get 6 over 4, which if you put it in the calculator is going to simplify it to 3 over 2. And so if that's equal to x to the y power, then we know that y is equal to 3 over 2. And that's what the question asked for. Okay, now you guys could just finish by simplifying these three expressions in 8. You could first do the quotient rule inside the parentheses, and then raise the inside and outside powers by keeping the base and timesing the exponents. And that's all you'd have to do today.